Our guest on This is America and the World is the Ambassador of the African Union Mission to the United States, Hilda Suka-Mafudze. The ambassador formerly served as a member of parliament in her home country of Zimbabwe. She also served as ambassador from Zimbabwe to the republics of Sudan and South Sudan and the Republic of Malawi. We met at the embassy of the African Union Mission in Washington. Madam Ambassador, so wonderful to be with you today.
Thank you, Dennis. Thank you for asking me to talk about my continent, my beautiful continent.
Beautiful continent.
Yes.
So when you, sitting here in Washington, D.C., look at Africa, what do you see?
I see a very vast continent with diversity, diversity of minds, diversity in knowledge of all other issues in life. And I see a vibrant young people running up and down, yearning so much for sovereignty and dignity. That's what I see in Africa today.
There was a new book just came out, I think. And I think the title of the book is Africa is Not a Country. Huh?
Yes, it's not a country at all. It's a composition of countries.
Countries.
Yes.
From Algeria down to what, South Africa? Huh?
To South Africa. We are 55 members. We have 55 members, 55 member states. These are countries in that continent of Africa. But I hear that question a lot here in the US, where they think it's a country.
Yeah.
There are countries, 55 member states.
Diversity yet unity, huh? Is that possible, really?
It will be possible. It has to begin somewhere. Hence is the reason we have the African Union, the continental body tasked with building the policies of the continent. Every country is excited to work together for us to get to, I said, don't forget we are coming from somewhere. We were colonized. Yes. And what are we saying right now? We are looking at coming together and work together. Africa was one at some point in time. In these divisions, these 55 member states, we are saying, it's all right, we can stay the way we are, but let's do things together. There is power in numbers.
Yes, I would think so, huh?
Yeah, sure.
What does the term Pan-African mean? I read that every once in a while.
Yeah, to be belonging. Being a Pan-Africanist, a person who runs with the issues, with the cultures, with the economies, who runs with what Africa asks for. It's a true Pan-Africanist.
If you said, here are some goals of the African Union. You're the ambassador here in the United States. What would you say are the primary goals of the African Union amongst these 55 member states?
The primary goals at the moment, I'll begin with the first and foremost. We are looking at the health issue.
Health.
Yes. And we are saying with the health issue, we were woken up by this COVID. And that's when we realized that we need to have infrastructure for our areas of health. We have to manufacture our medicines. We have to be able to do the integration, make sure these are accessible at each and every 10 of our regions. We have 5 solid regions on the continent, as I speak, and the integration issues are ongoing through the African Continental Free Trade Area, where we are looking to integrate. We want to integrate in issues to do with digitalization. We want to integrate in issues of building the infrastructure, the health infrastructure in all areas of economic development. We're looking to put together the work as a one. And as we work, as I've said earlier, there's scope in economies of scale when people work together. Yes.
When we're sitting here in Washington, our government, our people, What are we missing?
You are missing a lot as it comes to the issue of Africa. Africa today is totally different. I am looking at Africa which is yearning to grow. Africa that is saying, we are here and we want to make a difference. And we have the vibrance of the young people who are very excitable at the moment in moving the continent to greater heights. Africa is demanding of a seat at the table, at the world stage, to make decisions at the world stage. And with that, we are grooming these younger people that I'm talking about, for them to get there prepared, not at the time when I was born, the time I got to where I am today. I'm still battling with certain issues, which I don't want those issues to have the younger people battle with.
What would be those issues?
These issues of saying, I experienced the colonialism. Yes, before we were independent. Yes, I enjoyed the independence. I was younger when we got the independence. But I'm saying, I was in my country, and there were places that I was not allowed to go to.
And your country was?
I'm from Zimbabwe.
Zimbabwe.
Yes. There were areas that were designated for the white folk. And I'm here to teach my children, there's nothing like it in life you are leading today. And also, don't forget, education-wise, Africans would be going to school in their own areas, and the white people in their own areas. Now there's that fusion. People are working together. So whenever I'm telling my child, they used to be 1, 2, 3, I didn't go to school where the white people were going, my child will say, no, why? Maybe their best friend is a white person. Why? So, but I want them to know it existed. Yes, and there's only equality out here. We are a people, Ubuntu, where we say the respect that you give to your friend, the respect that you will get, not that because of your color, then it becomes different. No.
So you're saying to your children,
Yes.
Know your history, huh?
Yes. I want them to know their history. It's important. Then they can ground themselves today and they move forward knowing where they are coming from. They're grounded, they will be stronger. Yes.
Let us take a little break. Tell the folks at home, we're talking with the ambassador who represents the African Union, 55 member countries, here in Washington, D.C., here in the United States. Take a little break, back on the other side. This is America and the World. This is America and the World is made possible by the Japan-America Society of Washington, D.C., the Republic of Uzbekistan, the Sultanate of Oman, the Kingdom of Morocco, 21st Century Citizenship, the Frank Islam and Debbie Dreisman Foundation, the Forerunner Foundation, the Rotondaro Family Trust, and the Embassy Series, uniting people through musical diplomacy. Madam Ambassador, you talked a little bit about the infrastructure and talked about health infrastructure, transportation infrastructure,
Yes.
I would imagine is important.
It's very important.
Because my recollection was things moving by truck in Benin when we were there.
When you were there, you saw only Benin.
Yeah.
In each and every country, it's happening. We are really yearning for that, to build on the infrastructure. As we talk of the integration that our one of the African Union flagships, African Union Agenda 2063, and it's one of its flagships, which is African Continental Free Trade Area, is tasked with that integration. And they are working very hard to ensure there's this integration. How then do you integrate when you don't have the good roads? Yes. We want to increase the manufacturing of whatever we are working on. We are going to be doing business together, but also accepting the world outside. Yes.
to build infrastructure, to build up the health infrastructure that you talked about, education, I would suppose.
Yes, education, digital areas, because there's nowhere we can go where the world is now technologically savvy. And if we don't build on those basics, we are left behind when the world is moving on.
So when you want to build, that requires money.
Yes, it does.
I gather money coming from China, coming from Russia. How about the United States? Where do we stand?
I will tell you, these are exciting times, Dennis. Yes. America is revitalizing its relationship with Africa. And with that, they are working with us. I told you of Africa that is looking at sovereignty and dignity. And in what ways? We have Agenda 2063 and having flagships below it. I've mentioned one of the flagships, which is African Continental Free Trade Area. And you can imagine, there's a bill already which is ongoing here in the US to support the African Continental Free Trade Area. And also for something that is significant to help us build the infrastructure on the continent of Africa. America is seized with this issue of working with Africa to build Africa. And we are saying, whatever we put in place, we are going to mutually benefit.
Where do we stand today with American government or American private sector business investing in Africa? And also, what's the level of the trade at this time? I know I put investments and trade on the table and let you run with that.
Thank you for that question. At the moment, being here, running this mission, ensuring what Africa wants is done in our relationship, increasing our relationship with America. There is a move at the moment. If you are not investing in Africa today, where else? Especially looking at what endowments Africa has as we speak. We are endowed in natural resources.
Yes.
And we have not explored everything. And this is the time where Africa also has come up with its own systems. The Agenda 2063 I'm talking about, and its flagships to say we want to build the Africa that we want. In the US, I'm inviting the private sector to make it better. Yes, there is here and there, but I would say America should increase its footprint on the continent of Africa.
If we don't, and I'm speaking as an American, we're going to get left behind, huh?
Thank you. Thank you. I didn't want to say it that way. I'm a diplomat. Don't forget.
Yes. But I don't think we should. We should. It's important to invest in Africa, individual countries, and as the continent as a whole. It's in our interest.
Yes, it's in your interest. I'll say this. All those projects that are at regional levels surely will do better. I would say we are looking at this integration that I'm talking about, having those 5 hubs of business growth and having a business at that level will mean there'll be saturation of the kind of business into all the countries that are represented in that region.
So investment, free trade agreement,
yes,
very important.
Yes.
What countries are doing well economically, socially, politically?
As I said, I am a representative of the 55 member states.
I have to.
And when I speak about these issues, I speak regionally. And we have 5 regions. And in each and every region, certainly there's 1 country, 2 countries doing very well.
Okay.
Yes, doing very well. In the way I'm saying, America, don't be left behind. And Africa really want to do business with you, America.
Africa wants to do, these countries in Africa, these regions want to do business. Do we get mired down with bureaucracy here in the United States? It is impossible. I know people who work for the government, and they just say the bureaucracy sometimes is impossible.
But I would want to think, Dennis, at the moment,
Uh-huh.
things are shaping up.
Oh, good.
Things are getting better.
Uh-huh.
Don't forget what I said to you, revitalization of a relationship between the US and Africa. This is at government level. But not only will it remain there, whom does the government work with? The private sector.
Yes.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes, the word is going into the private sector. I'm working also with CCA. I'm working with the Chamber of Commerce.
Uh-huh.
There's a lot that they're doing on the ground and inviting these companies.
When you say CCA, help me?
Corporate Council of Africa.
Okay. Mhm.
Yes.
Where do you stand? Well, I know where you stand because I did a little reading about you.
Yes.
Defender of democracy. That's very important to you. How are the different countries doing? Are they? Is it moving in the right direction?
It's it's like people are coming of age with time. And I will take this back to where I said Africa is at that level where it's looking at its sovereignty and the dignity. And Africa is that level where it has its systems, where we are saying, let's work together. And what are we saying? What is it we want? And it's mutually of what people want, mutually benefiting. And who would want to be left behind with this train that is moving of development? And they're yearning also to do better in areas where they are, wherever, which other country, they're yearning to be doing better in democracy. Yes, I would want to think, let people be happy in their country. Let people choose what they want at the end of the day, without external influences, without even within the influences. Let people say what they want and the people be governed. It's all about governance. As long as governance is in place, people are governed well, but without influences. I will repeat that. People will know. No one will come to your household and tell you, you are hungry. I will find you someone to give you food. It doesn't work that way. Yes. We have the conscience to know also what we want. We can't be told by other countries to come to us and say, don't you see you're being misgoverned and all that? No.
And our democracy, which is pretty fragile at this point in time, it's not our job to tell other people what their look of democracy is to be.
Oh, thank you, Dennis. You are very right. This is where that's the point that I'm putting out, actually, to just say, guys, these things happen amongst us. But it's a matter of us coming together and solve our own problems within ourselves without any influences from outside. The influences sometimes are just a big problem, but is when, of course, but it's called for people to do the right thing always, no matter where they are coming from, no matter what they are doing, their positions in government, is do the right thing.
This is not a fair question to ask you, but I'll ask it anyway.
Go ahead.
Because I do.
Every question I can answer. But if I can't answer it, forgive me.
Yes. No, yes. I'm just thinking of this vast continent. Population about 1.5 billion, close to?
1.3 billion people.
Oh, Lord.
Yes.
So this is not a fair question.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Thinking of all these countries and thinking of the diversity of these countries, is there a heart of African culture? Is there something, the values or something that cuts across all of these country lines that we can kind of grab a hold of?
I mentioned a little bit about Ubuntu. What does Ubuntu mean?
Yes.
It's a humility.
Humility.
It's humility and being a people. We are very welcoming people. That value it cuts across the whole of Africa, welcoming visitors, treating them very well.
Warm,
Be
warm,
warm, yes. Developing close relationships with such. So this is who we are. Yes, we may have the diversity, and we are celebrating on the diversity level. And it's the reason I'm saying we are working on speaking with one voice and doing things as a people, this integration that I'm talking about. And the systems that I talked about are way above those kind of imaginations that were making us not bringing each other closer and they're working together. And they're saying we are in one continent. What is it we have that can make us be respected out there? Those are the values we're looking at, but we are welcoming. And I would say to the private sector of the US, this is the continent to work with today. If you're not investing in Africa, where else? If you're not doing business with Africa, where else are you doing business? A continent saturated with the 60% of the younger people educated. The human resource we have on the continent of these younger people.
And what just went through my mind is, and we're not at war with Africa. So it's open for business, open for investment.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Open for business, open for investment, FDI. And also, I think you also, as the business people, would want to see Africa organized. And how are we organizing ourselves? That integration that I talked about.
Coming.
Yes.
On the move.
On the move.
Do you think that our history, our American history,
Yes.
with race, gets in the way?
It gets in the way of what, Dennis? If you can be precise.
Thank you for turning the tables on me.
Thank you.
Just, I'm wondering if us as Americans, if we appreciate the incredible contribution Africa has made to America, its growth, its history, its culture, its richness. I mean, Africa has played such a huge role, and that should be celebrated.
Thank you. It has to be celebrated. I'll tell you, we are working at the moment. The US government has announced the summit upcoming 13 to 15 December, Africa Leaders Summit. And in the Leaders Summit, there's so much now talk and giving priority to the diaspora. What does that mean? We have the biggest number of the diaspora here in the US, let alone other smaller places, islands and all that. Let me put it this way, Dennis. The Africans have helped build the world.
Africa has helped build the world.
Yes, develop the world. And having our biggest diaspora here in America. Yes, America, if it's appreciating that they have this diaspora, it's quite an exciting item. One of the items that's going to be on the table, which have been given prominence by the US at the Leaders Summit.
So going back to the 1600s here in the United States,
Yes.
right through to 2022, here we are
In
today.
December 2022.
What a brilliant contribution. And it just has to be celebrated. It cannot be denied. It cannot be denied.
Thank you for that. Yes, it cannot be denied. Actually, my mandate is to work with the diaspora. I'll tell you, we are doing all that we can to rally this diaspora. Now, working with the government, I think it will make it more easier. And I think there will be more paths and areas opened to open doors for us to be able to work together with the diaspora.
We are at the end of our time. We could talk forever because we are just opening little doors for people to go in, investigate on their own, continue the conversation themselves.
You know what we should do? We should take it further, this conversation. Today we can wait here.
Madam Ambassador.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for the education, for your warmth and hospitality.
Thank you, Dennis. I really appreciate giving me an opportunity to talk about Africa, my beautiful continent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For information about This Is America and the World, visit our YouTube channel, This Is America TV, visit our website, thisisamerica.net, and follow us on Facebook and Twitter. You can listen to all of our ambassador interviews on our podcast, The Ambassador Series. It's available on our website and iTunes. This Is America and the World is made possible by the Japan-America Society of Washington, D.C., the Republic of Uzbekistan, the Sultanate of Oman, the Kingdom of Morocco, 21st Century Citizenship, the Frank Islam and Debbie Dreisman Foundation, the Forerunner Foundation, the Rotondaro Family Trust, and the Embassy Series, uniting people through musical diplomacy.